Hey, what's up? It is our weekly drop. As you see, I'm rocking the director of nursing. All right, period. All right, so I was kind of challenged on what I really wanted to talk about this week because this weekend I had so many different emails on what they were experiencing. Okay, so but I wanted to talk about how to deal with challenging residents and their families. All right. And I've had to experience this. So let me just tell you about a story time. All right. I was a DON. I had a resident. I honestly call the cops. That's how much he was harassing and threatening our staff. All right. That we had to get the police involved. All right. So I wanted to bring that on because at the end of the day, yes, we need to make sure our residents are safe, but we also need to make sure our staff are okay. Okay. The abuse that's going on with nurses right now, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. All right. So how to deal with challenging residents and their family members. All right. And this is going to go back to a couple videos I did on your admission process. All right. I can't stress this enough about the admission process and how this affects dealing with these challenging residents and their families. All right. So a couple things I want you to start thinking about. One, if you're not familiar with your grievance process, get familiar with it. All right. Make sure you have a plan in place. Okay. If you don't know, that's under F585. All right. But before we get there, right, because we don't want to get there, all right? We want to learn how to deal with them before we get there, but we also want to let them know that, hey, if you have any type of concerns or anything, we have a process in place, and this is this regulation, all right? And going all about into that whole line of your residents' rights, all right? Anything that has to do with that, all right? So I wanted to just talk about that today, and how we can, a lot of the things that we do can be prevented. All right, you know, I'm always going to talk about prevention first. All right, what can we do to prevent even getting here? All right, so we talked about that admission process, right? And even before that admission process, I talked about your pre-admission. All right, and then I talked about the admission. All right, your pre-admission this is when they're in the hospital. All right, and this is when your liaison is going to tell you that you're getting this resident. All right, a big factor that I need you to start thinking about is this pre-admission phase. If they are in the hospital for a long period of time, guys, a very long period of time, and it has nothing to do with the physical aspect, understand that it's going to have to do with the mental aspect, okay? And that's probably why they're there, because guess what? They might have been in and out of facilities. Nobody wants to accept them because they might have some behavioral issues, all right? So I want you to start thinking about that, all right? Really pay attention to the residents that you're getting. If you are a challenged facility, pay attention to this, because what happens is if you're on the lowest spectrum, if you're a 1-star, 2-star, even 3-star, you can't really be picky, right? You can't really be picky into what you want to get, because we need heads and beds to make revenue, all right? So, but this here can give you so much information on how to deal with challenge residents and families, all right? Your liaison should automatically know a lot of information about the resident and if they have family members that are involved, okay? How many times you get a resident and you have like a slew of people involved, okay? There are a ton of family dynamics, and each person wants to be notified about each thing that goes on with the resident. All right, how do you handle that? Okay, I'll tell you how. You appoint a person, all right? You say, hey, who is going to be the main contact for this resident? If it's not the resident himself, okay? And then if I cannot reach this person, then who's next? Okay, start thinking about that, all right? The more you can get your resident involved in their plan of care, POC, I call plan of care, get them involved to saying what they want with their care, all right? A lot of times, you know, back in the days, it was facility focused. Remember, it's patient-centered care now, all right? It doesn't give a damn about what we feel like the residents to have. It's going to be, what does the resident want? okay? And then we need to go about implementing the things that that resident wants, especially if the resident is going to go home, right? The goal is, if their goal is to go home, remember discharge teaching starts on admission, so you want to have them involved in their care. You want them to realize, hey, I need this for my care or whatever. All right, because when we're not getting them involved, and then you have these people stepping in and saying, oh well, this didn't happen, he said he didn't get this, she said they didn't get that. That means that we're not having enough communication here. All right, and then remember, granted, you're not going to be able to please every resident, and you're not going to be able to please every family member. All right, you're not. All right, and when it gets to that point, you need to say, you know what, I think we've done everything that we could do. We've even asked for your input. Perhaps this is not the place for you. All right, and start thinking about other facilities, all right, that can then accommodate the needs for this resident. All right, but a lot of times when we have complaint visits, it's because the communication might not be clear between all parties. All right, and that's what I want you to start thinking about, because I had one of my DONs had a complaint visit, and thank God for documentation. Document. All right, documentation will save you in the end. All right, because everything was documented about what the resident wanted, the things that the staff did, who was all involved each time that a concern came about. The documentation is what saved them. All right, so then that complaint turned to be unsubstantiated because the facility did what it had to do from the beginning. All right, from the beginning. So when you're having your admission, remember I said an appointed person. Okay, let me tell you something. All right, years ago, my first DON position, we had a challenge resident. Okay, everybody just complained about this resident. Oh, the family member, not necessarily the resident himself, but the family members, right? And I start having clear communication with that family member, okay, about what it is that she wanted, what the resident wanted, and I was that direct contact for that person. So much that when the resident discharged, I got a very nice, oh my God, thank you so much, Bilquis, for what you have done, blah, blah, blah. And I guess what? I saved that, okay? I saved that as a reference, okay, of pleasing a family member, all right? So you sometimes might have to go a step further, but having an appointed person when you have challenging family members is crucial, all right? I've had a couple, like literally a married couple as a DON, that I was the appointed person. They only wanted to deal with me, all right? Because they felt like nobody else on my team, you know, would actually carry out whatever they said, and that wasn't the case. We were actually borderline burned out. But I made it my business to make sure that I met with that resident, the family member, because they were both learning oriented, but they had other family members involved, and I kept documentation on everything, all right? Now, having that appointed person is crucial, all right, because then they are just seeing the same person, their concerns are being addressed, all right? It gives them an opportunity to see it through, rather than going here, and although we're going to fill out the concern form or whatever, we don't want anything to be substantiated if we have that complaint visit. All right. So this is why I say when you're getting those admissions, a lot of things can be prevented if it's done properly. All right, because you know when you're getting your admission, you're going over how to file a grievance in the event you have any type of concerns or anything when you're getting these new admissions. All right, so clear communication can really help alleviate a lot of this when we're dealing with challenging family members and residents. So one, make sure you have appointed people for that resident. All right, if your resident is alert and oriented, have a BIMS of a 13 and 15, you say, okay, would you like us to contact, who would you like us on your list? All right, remember you'll have those either the resident representative, or you might have emergency contact 1 or 2, and then they will be notified in the event something happens, or you just want to make sure you're not dealing with so many family members all the time, because then communication gets missed, and they'll be like, oh, you know, oh, they told me this. Oh, well, they told me that. Oh, well, they told me this. No, try to have like one to no more than two people that you have to report to in the event some type of changes come about with that one resident. All right, so prevention is always going to be key. All right, and anything that we're doing. All right, but I just wanted to share with you because yes, you're not going to be able to please everyone. All right, you're not. But we still want to put our best foot forward in providing great customer service, listening to them, following the residents' rights, and most importantly, following F585. So in the event that if we were to have a type of grievance, a complaint visit, the documentation is there. All right. Anytime you have any type of complaint or anything, it is, you know, concern, make sure you document. All right. So that's my spill for the week today. How to deal with challenging residents. 1, clear communication, the appointed person getting involved more in that pre-admission and admission process. And as always, follow through. All right, like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, and if you have any other topics that you'd like me to discuss, don't hesitate to ask. All right, until next week, guys, have a great day.